Welcome back to the Moisture Farm again. Today I've got a playtest for you. We've got a coordinate focused Daimyo Boba green yellow. Trying to bring this deck back. I thought the coordinate was an interesting way to build around this, so I gave it a shot. Obviously, at first glance, we've got units galore here. I just went gung-ho. There's like 42 units in this deck. More of a fun deck. I think the concept, I think if it's like a little bit more well tuned than this, might be something. Maybe someone smarter than me can figure out what the right combo is. At a glance, 2 drops. We've got Crafty Smuggler, Echo, Coruscant Guard. Actually, before I go any further, in case there's anyone that's not sure about the rules with this. So coordinate, even if it's not online, will trigger Boba Fett's keyword ability. It has the keyword regardless of whether or not coordinate is online. Now, obviously, the coordinate ability they only get if coordinate is online, but the keyword still triggers Boba's ability. So every single unit, all 42 of them in this deck have keywords. There's an argument to have a couple of non-keyworded units like the new R2 arguably deserves to be in here just because of how nice of a unit that is, and they can filter your hand. But yeah, we've got the Crafty Smuggler, Echo, Coruscant Guard, and then for other 2 costs, Surprise Strike, mostly there to trade up this deck. Like, you kind of want to get into your top end in this deck, so not so much pushing tempo with damage on base. You kind of want to just maintain a board state with this and potentially have like a Crafty Smuggler, swing in for 5 and pop a shield, or like a Sundari Peacekeeper going in for 5, something like that. Boba Fett's armor kind of has to go right until we get to set 4. This is all the Boba that we got. So, want to throw 2 in there just for fun. See if we can get Boba Fett's armor on. It's still insanely strong even with this Boba Fett. Creative thinking is kind of one of the only like interaction other than like ambush. It's like the only opponent interaction that's going on here. I like it because it does look really bad when your opponent's not playing non-unique units. But in that case, like if that's the board state, you just resource it and play a unit like normal. But this allows us to build our board up and keep them from trading into our early plays. So, throw a couple in there to see if we can get that going. Sundari Peacekeeper, like one of the best keyword units, maybe one of the best like 3 drops that this shell even has access to. Yularen, just to kind of buff stats, restore is always nice. Another unit that like you can surprise strike in and it might even survive. Trying to keep coordinate online as much as possible. Advanced Recon Commando is just good stats. Overwhelm is nice. Bright Hope gives us the stability in space. So does the Starfighter with the ambush, and if we ambush with initiative with the Starfighter, we get a droid token which helps coordinate. So good things going on there. Hidden Sharpshooter, like another good, it's 1 stat short of being a 4-lom as far as its ambush capabilities. So I like it. Just another way, like at pretty much every stat line we have ambushing. We've got ambush at 2 costs, ambush at 3 costs. I guess we don't have ambush at 3 costs, but ambush at 4, ambush at 5, ambush at 6, ambush at 7. That's kind of like that's this deck's way of interacting with your opponent. Couple Chewbacca's in there at 5. Pretty heavy in the 5 cost in this deck, but there's so many good options here. I only have 1 copy of Ayla, and so I kind of packaged Ayla and Plo Koon in a like 3 copies total between those 2 cards to kind of round it. Ideally, though, like at 5, I want to be playing Cody. I think if you have Cody on the board, playing him on curve or even not playing him on curve, and play him at either 5 or 6 and get him on the battlefield with Boba. If you can get one more unit and get Coordinate online, it's a pretty threatening board. That's kind of what the goal is of this deck, is have just a really strong mid game that leads into a really strong top end as well. Emphy's Nest is a great card for this. Can ambush in for 6 and take less damage from your opponent. So, big swings with that. Ewing Reinforcement, arguably the best event in the green-white shell. Just really good. Han Solo, 6/6 with shoot firsts. With Boba, can come in and snipe a Luke if possible. So that card looks really strong. Enfy's Nest is the new Enfy's Nest, able to stabilize in the late game and bounce opponents' units back to their hands. Can do really well, and you get to choose the unit, so that's really strong. And then 1 copy of Home 1. I only have 1 copy, but yeah, that's the bomb in the top end. If we're able to maintain that board state and get a Home 1 out there, pretty much locks us in for a win in most games. So let's go ahead and jump straight into the games and see how this does, and see what we could have, should have done with this. Alrighty, let's dive into game 1. I'm sitting on the left side this time for some reason. That's just how I set up. Sitting across from me is my man Cody, rocking a showcase mace, maybe the best looking showcase in the set, with blue base. So, I'm thinking running a deck where he's trying to stabilize and make sure he can survive to where the mace drop actually, has significance in the game. I think that's what the big problem with mace. It's like a 7 drop. That can often be just too late with the way that the game is right now. So I believe I get to start with initiative. We'll go with the Crafty Smuggler. I love playing Crafty Smuggler turn 1. Shielded 2/2. You can go anywhere you want from there. It's just a good place to feel nice and cozy with that. So Cody's starting out in space with the Anakin's Interceptor. I'm not too worried about him going super wide in space with this deck. I know with blue, there's the threat of some big Jedis. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down Echo and exhaust Boba to give Crafty Smuggler the buff and put that 3 into base. I could have waited to see if you played it like a 3 drop in the ground, but most likely I'll be able to hang on to initiative. So he's going to Grenade Strike, pop my Echo, pop the shield on Crafty Smuggler, and I get to claim initiative. And then we go to phase. So 2 damage, I put across 3, he puts across 2. Our turn 1 plays are still alive. So, good on him for keeping me small. Having 2 units going into the 4 drop, 4 resource turn is not great for him. Going to come in with the Subjugating Starfighter, which works really well against Anakin at this stage in the game. I get to take it out and survive and get a droid token. So now I'm in prime position to potentially set up Coordinate. I make sure to exhaust Boba to give Crafty Smuggler another buff. Now, it would be foolish to totally rely on Coordinate at this point. I mean, Cody's got all of his resources up. He's got a leader that can ping. So Grenade Strikes again, wipes my ground board. And then I'll just claim initiative with no other actions left. And he gets to finish off my space unit. So, a good start for him, honestly. He wants to prolong this game as much as possible, getting in some good ping effects, keeping my board small, and going into 5 resources, the board is empty, which is right where Cody wants to be. So I've got to figure out how to get the big board up. I'm going to elect to just pay all 5 for Chewbacca Sentinel, which is a decent play for me to make, and he gets the +1 buff for the phase. Cody's got a Batch Brothers coming in, getting a little wider than me in the ground arena, a 2-1 and a 2-2. I take initiative, and that is the only play accessible to Cody at that phase. So feeling pretty good with a beefy Sentinel and just a couple 2-2s on the other side. And I'm going into leader flip turn and dropping Commander Cody, giving Chewbacca the buff. And once again, like, we are on resource 6, so I'm looking to flip Boba here, turn on coordinate, and just have a pretty nasty board. Cody's going to tap out for the low altitude gunship and hit Chewbacca for 3. That'll make it easier to get through Chewbacca. I'll go ahead and make sure I get some damage in with him before I lose him. And he's buffed to 4 damage. I believe he's a native 3, so Boba's giving him a buff going in for 4. Cody deciding how he wants to. He's all tapped out on resources, so I believe he just claimed initiative there. So I'll swing in with Boba to take out Batch Brothers. Coordinates online, so we're going to get some damage overwhelm into base now that Cody is coordinating. Those 2 on the board at the same time with coordinate active. That's what we're trying to do, get a scary board. And I've got a Sentinel, so not only is coordinate online, but he's got to take out the Sentinel before he can deal with those 2, which I'm assuming that's what the gunship is there for. Gunship's coming in with overwhelm to splash some damage on my base after he's able to take out Chewbacca. Going on to resource 7, so he's ready to flip his leader this phase. And before he goes into Chewbacca, decides to play Typho to give the token Sentinel. So we're going to play 4 here for Plo Koon, or excuse me, 5 for Plo Koon. And coordinate is online, so Plo is swinging into that trooper for 6, and 4 is overwhelming. So now, we've got arguably the 2 best coordinate units in the game on board right now. Coordinate is online. We're feeling pretty good about this. Albeit, I know that Mace Windu is coming out. Cody's going to do another. He's going to open fire Chewbacca. So coordinate is still online. However, my Sentinel, my big strong Sentinel, is gone. So I've got to decide where I want to go through to get this damage in. Do I worry about the gunship? I think Cody's at 15 on his base, or it might be at 20. I'm having a hard time reading the dice. Gonna swing Boba into Typho, get some overwhelm in. I think 1 overwhelm to base. Man, I wish I could see the damage. And gunship is gonna come in for. Where's he choosing? Where's he going with the gunship? Should go into Cody. Should definitely go into Cody. He's making his decision here. And yep, he thinks Cody. That is the right play. Loses the gunship. I lose Cody. Coordinate goes away. A little overwhelms the base. And then I'll bring coordinate right back with a crafty smuggler. At this point, it's only relevant for Plo Koon, but that raid 3 is a big deal. He's going to activate Mace and throw a damage onto Boba, and that's going to put Boba at 5 damage, which means he gets to do 2 more. And Or is it one more? It's one more. So Boba's alive with one remaining. But then on the deploy of Mace, that will finish off Boba Fett. And I have once again lost coordinate. I think I'm just left with taking an initiative here. He's going to have to choose where to swing Mace Windu into. I do have a pretty good lead. I don't know exactly. Maybe that says 17. That looks like a 17. Cody making a decision here of where he wants to send Mace into. And he's going to just put it straight on base, trying to make up some damage. And that will take us to phase. So we're going into resource 8 now, which puts us in range for home 1, which would be a big card to come out right here. That would really stabilize and probably lock in the win for me. And based on the way I'm counting cards, there comes home 1. And we are giving the buff to, I believe, I gave it to the Crafty Smuggler. Protected by the shield, I can push across that 1 damage somewhere, guaranteed. And we are doing, I guess that was another grenade strike, I believe. Put that 3 in on base, puts him at 20. 2 more for the lightsaber on Mace. He's going to draw some cards. And so now his Mace is upgraded. I am left with just claiming initiative after playing the big home 1. And he was going to bring down Typho and swing Mace into base. So I had damage to play with there because we got out to the lead that we did. But I cannot let Mace do any more damage to my base. I will be able to restore 2 with home 1, and if my Crafty Smuggler sees the next phase, restore another 1. I'm not planning on that, though, because it's going to put him within lethal range. And you might be able to see the corner of my hand there. I've got a pretty important card. A couple of important cards, actually. We got 2 ambush units, including the big one, the Han Solo, and then a Sundari Peacekeeper as well as my 3rd card in hand. We will get that damage into base with home 1. Puts him to 27. Gets me a little restore. Now, Crafty Smuggler puts him within 1. He's going to take it out with Typho and then give Mace Sentinel to try and protect any threats coming in from the ground. Now, there's not enough damage on Mace to ambush successfully with Han, but I'm going to do it anyways. With 2 resources remaining, I know I can put down the Coruscant Guard and at least have the threat into ground. Yeah, I forgot he chose Mace with Typho, so now I'm rethinking, but I do believe I end up going into Mace just to get the damage on him. And giving +1 to home 1 for no reason, really. Not like it matters. Mace is going to come into base, swinging for 7, I believe. Puts me at 20. And then I'll put the Coruscant Guard down just to have the threat. Cody's got all of his resources up. He does play a card here, vanquishing my home 1. And me claiming initiative. Does he have an answer for my Coruscant Guard? He does not. Plays the 1/2 Trooper and has no way to deal with Coruscant Guard with me having first action. There's no sentinels on board. I can get that 3 into the base, and that's a wrap. So, you know, wasn't really able to deal with Mace with the lightsaber on. You know, I tried to put some damage into him. Definitely, I mean, if Coruscant Guard was not lethal, I think we'd be looking at a much different ending for me. And, you know, kind of unlucky on Cody's part that he wasn't able to deal 2 more to Coruscant. Because, I mean, if he had that board state with me having no units, that was probably looking a lot better for him. But snuck one out, did pretty well. Let's go on to the next one. Alrighty. Next game, going up against my man Andrew, running the double red Vizsla with the card draw epic base, or rare base, I guess I should say is the proper term. Quick note here, Andrew does forget to remove that dice damage counter on his base for a while. We catch it eventually, but from his previous game, that will go away. But we will jump right into it here. With initiative, he comes out with the Death Star Trooper, come out with Coruscant Guard to match, and he just daring raise it and gets it out of there. So stays on the control of the board with just the 3-1 unit. So definitely, you know, anyone sitting across from me knows that they need to keep my board small as long as possible. And I'm going to make it a little hard for him by bringing in the Sundari Peacekeeper because, you know, that thing's got quite a butt on him. Got to deal 5 damage to get rid of him. Andrew's going to get 3 into my base, and I think it's at this point where I hopefully catch the damage done to his base. We'll catch it. We catch it eventually, I promise. 4 resources. I've got initiative. And we will see creative thinking come out, and we'll exhaust the 5-2 platform and bring in a clone token. So keeps him from trading with my Peacekeeper. He's going to daring raid it though, which sets it up for the Death Trooper to take it out. So I know, there we go. We get his damage out, and yep, Peacekeeper's going to come in for 3, and I will restore. And then the Death Trooper will trade. And then I'll bring in an Echo. He decides to bring in Kylo's Tie. Really strong 2-drop in space. I just checked TCG Player this morning, and the value on Kylo's Tie has gone up quite a bit. It feels like it was not worth... I think it's like up to... It's definitely north of $20, and it used to be like 16, 17, maybe even less. So I'm going to sacrifice my token to get rid of the 5-2. Don't want that thing getting in on my base. And he's got leader flip this phase. He'll go ahead and do it. Draw a card with the rare base. I'll put 2 into his base. And in comes the Darksaber on Vizsla. That is scary. Definitely scary. So he's base 8 damage swinging. And putting the buff on Cody. I kind of, on this, like in this situation, Vizsla is a 4, so 8, and then I think 9 with the Darksaber. And I do not want that swinging at my base at this point in the game. So I'll, when I play Cody, put the buff on him so that if he is baited swinging to Cody, he pays a little bit more for it. It does not distract him enough. He does go into base for 9, and then 3 more coming in. Or base for 8. I think I had 1 on my base after restoring. So that is definitely nasty. Big old leader unit with a Darksaber. Luckily, there's no other Mandalorians out there to get the experience. Playing the Recon Commander to give Cody +1 here, and now Coordinate is online, so Echo becomes a 4/4. I'm definitely looking to throw Echo into Viz probably to get some damage in. I do still have 3 resources up. I don't actually know exactly what's in my hand. I can't quite remember. Andrew's got a decision to make on where he wants to go with his resources. Whether or not he wants to swing Viz in. He's going to put pressure on my base by smacking me for 8 again, bringing me to 20 damage on my base, putting the pressure on. I will surprise strike Echo for 7 damage into Viz, which is probably best case scenario for me. I don't have any way of removal. I don't have any upgrade removal, so I've got to go after that thing. And flipping Boba here. Andrew once again trying to decide what he wants to do. Bring in the Ruthless Raider. 2 is going to hit my base. Puts me at 25. I am 5 within lethal now. 2 damage is going to go in on Boba. Definitely a rough board state for me. The Darksaber on Viz is no joke. I've got to figure out what I want to do here. I know that I kind of prioritize keeping Cody on the board here. In the last game too, like I swung in with Boba before I swung in with Cody. I think that the overwhelm with Cody, the coordinate with Cody, especially I do have like another unit on the board, so I'll take the trade, the leader trade, and roll with the punches, and then get in some damage on base with Cody. So now he's sitting at 12, and I do have a reasonable amount of damage on the board. I can put 8 into his base right now, putting him at 20. Definitely staring down the barrel of the gun right now, though. Ruthless Raider's going to come in for 4, put me within 1, and perfect time. I think I top deck this, bringing in Bright Hope. I won't bounce anything to my hand because Coordinate's online. And he pillages me, so now my hand is dumped. I am going to, I think, buff Bright Hope. I kind of did it late, but Coordinate's online now, so now I can do 10 damage to his base. Kylo's Tie is going to put some damage into Bright Hope. Doesn't really have much of a choice there. He knows he can sacrifice Ruthless Raider to win the game. I'm going to put him to 20. Or excuse me, 21. And we go to phase here. And if Andrew has initiative, he wins. I don't think he realizes that Ruthless Raider can win him the game. And he concedes. You know what? No, that's bad on me. He cannot defeat Ruthless Raider. Will not get defeated if he swings into Bright Hope. So yeah, he cannot stop the Sentinel. And I've got, he's up at 21. I've got 2 4/4s, and they're 5/5s now with Coordinate. I don't know why I was thinking Bright Hope was going to kill Ruthless Raider. No, he cannot get through Bright Hope, and he cannot deal with either of my 5 damage units on board. So Andrew concedes. Another game that we just kind of just get in right on the wire. Didn't have any of our like big, 7+ drops come in to save us that time, but it worked out nonetheless. Alrighty, so quick recap. Obviously a very unit heavy deck. Do I think this is super competitive? No, but neither was Boba in set 2. I think Boba, the blue variant of Boba, kind of like popped in and out of the meta a little bit. Was kind of like a sleeper, um, but it hasn't been yet, at least, very very competitive. The coordinate keyword for this, I think, might have some potential. Maybe double green might be more suitable for that. You've got like some, that new event to create tokens, help you go wider, kind of like the Rex strategy a little bit. But yeah, the idea of having Cody and Boba on the board at the same time with maybe one other unit and some tokens, just kind of flooding the board with buffed up units, is a lot of fun. And there's definitely times where this deck looks a lot of fun. If you do if you go double green, your top end loses a couple of strong pieces, so you kind of have to figure out what your solution is for that. If you guys are trying to do this, let me know what's working for you, what's not working for you. Another thing, like for me, I'm not super confident in this early game with these units. There might be a better combination. I know I've seen some people try this out with like the L337, which is a 2/2 shielded. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but if this is something you guys are testing out, I definitely want to hear more about pieces that you're adding to this. I don't know, maybe no one cares about Daimyo anymore, and I'm just speaking to the void. Who knows? Regardless, good games, good play tests, fun deck, and give it a shot. See if you can do better than me. And as always, see you for the next one.